Coyotes. Hello, everyone. I am very delighted to be here with Lily and with Anjana ma'am and to discuss canines and coyotes. So if you can't already tell by my t-shirt, I'm very, very, very excited. So before we get started, I want to I want the audience to know that this will be interactive. So you will have time to speak, and there will be activities that we'll do in the middle. So please, please do participate. This is not a silent session where I want all of you guys to get bored and doze off. And do not be on your best behaviors. I know you've come here with your teachers and principals. In fact, I have the principal of my school when I went to school here. So shout out to Ms. Dutt. She taught me English, and she was such a great inspiration to me. So before we get started, my question is to you, Anjana ma'am, as to the themes in Chinku and the Wolf Boy that I have read. Do you remember when you felt the story needed to be written?
I remember when I felt the story needed to be written, but I was kind of thinking that I must write a children's fantasy, or rather I had this fantasy thought in my head. So I had this thing about a boy who when the moon changed, would turn into a wolf, but was otherwise a very nice guy, and people loved him madly. It's just that when the moon rose, he didn't know what he was doing. So life was a bit difficult. Now, whether you're going to call a wolf boy a canine or not, I'm not sure. It comes under sort of what? Transmigration.
Yeah.
I mean, it's shape-shifting. He's actually not a wolf or a canine. He's a boy who turns into a wolf. So
I want to hold this book up, and I want in the audience to tell me if the wolf boy looks scary to you or looks cute. Guys, just shout it out. It looks cute. No, it looks scary. Well, it looks so scary to me. So tell me a little bit about this wolf boy that we have in the book.
okay, so he actually gets together with Chinku, and they're trying to save a language of stories which Chinku's village has been trying to preserve. But there is an evil queen who wants to run away with all the words and keep all the stories for herself.
Right.
And there are these things called kipu, which is a South Indian knotted tale of things, words on beads. And Chinku is trying to preserve the kipu, but she doesn't know how to get them back from the evil queen. And then she runs into the wolf boy, and the two of them together raid the palace and go through all kinds of adventures until they finally upset this huge cauldron where they're trying to boil the kipus and destroy the stories.
What I find really fascinating is that you actually wrote this story because your son really wanted a story about a wolf. Is that correct?
My nephew.
Your nephew really wanted a story about the wolf, and he wrote one himself.
Yes.
And then you developed on that story, is it?
No. It was like, you write your story, I'll write my story. So we had this deal going.
Nice. So I moved to Lily. Lily, tell me when you remember that the story needed to be written.
So my mom is a writer, and she's been writing for a long, long time, but she writes novels. She writes mostly books for adults. And so a very small publisher approached her a few years back now, and asked her to write a children's book about coyotes. Coyotes are an American animal that there are a lot of myths about them. A lot of people really, really hate them, sort of for no reason. I mean, they do cause issues with livestock, but there are a lot of ways to protect against that. Anyway, coyotes are very misunderstood in the US. And so this publisher asked my mom to write a children's book. And my mom had written a letter saying, oh, you know, this is such a good idea, but I really don't write children's books. I just haven't done it before. And I saw the letter that she was going to say no. And I said, Mom, you can't say no. That's such a cool opportunity. And my experience is in environmental education for children. My master's degree is in environmental education for children. And so I said, Mom, you have to take this opportunity to teach kids how cool coyotes are and how they are very misunderstood and they're a complicated animal, but they really deserve some understanding. And so then we did the project together. We went to the publisher, and the publisher was also a mother-daughter team. And so they liked the idea of us doing it together as a mother-daughter team. And that's why we decided.
That's lovely. So I'm going to hold the cover of Coyote's Wild Home, and please tell me if this looks cute or scary. Cute, right? Okay. Do you want to tell me what the coyotes really do in their wild home, Lily?
Sure, yeah. So coyotes mostly keep to themselves, but they're a really interesting animal because they are super adaptable. They can change the way they live to survive in cities or in the country, or they can even change the time of day that they're awake. So a lot of animals will be just nocturnal, only awake at night, or just diurnal, only awake in the day. But coyotes can be nocturnal. They can be diurnal, they can be crepuscular. Coyotes are so interesting and they're so adaptable, and they live in so many different places and so many different ways that we kind of wanted in this book to show how they would live in the forest, where they would have lived before people moved in and built a lot of things up.
Are coyotes dogs, Lily?
Coyotes are very closely related to dogs. They are canines. Yes, they're in the canine family. They are about 45 pounds. So a lot of people, especially in the US, a lot of people think they're great big like wolves. They're huge and scary. They're actually quite small. And they don't pose any threat to people. They are not aggressive at all. They just want to run away when they see you.
Actually, I'd say they were rather like our jackals, which are the same kind of thing, which, again, people think are a threat to livestock and other things. But again, we've encroached on their territory. So the result is the jackals are lost for a home. However, there are a lot of jackals at the Tollingans Club.
Yeah.
How many of you have heard them at the Tollingans Club? Kids? Have you heard the jackals singing at night? Yeah. And I love going in winter to listen to the jackals sing because they sing so beautifully.
Just a show of hands, how many of you all in the audience have dogs at home? Anyone have dogs? Nice. Okay. And how many of you guys are scared of dogs? Oh, that's very many. So I want to talk about the relationship of land and place that run through both of the works, Lily, as well as you, Anjana ma'am. The fact that we share this land and this place with our canine friends. And there has been a lot of talk right now that's moving from the margins to the center about community animals. And it's been in the courtroom, in the newsroom. Lily, for context, the Supreme Court has basically requested that all stray animals be rehabilitated. I want to know what you think of coexistence in the literature that you write, as well as in your ideas personally.
Basically, the Indie, which is the dog we know as the stray, has always been a neighborhood dog. In India, they guard the neighborhoods. In fact, a lot of people who walked into neighborhoods where they don't belong have suddenly found a pack of Indies asking them, "Who the hell are you? Why are you here?" And generally woken up the rest of the neighborhood to say, "Who are these guys? Get rid of them."
Yeah.
So there is a community thing with these dogs. They're there to protect, and because canines are territorial, the Indies will do their best to protect the area in which they live. And as a result, they also get fed things by people. They occasionally adopt people. Like, I've recently made friends with this little brown Indie who I used to say good morning to when I went on my morning walk, and she'd wag. And thereupon she got a bit fed up that this isn't enough, and she'd come to have her head scratched. And it's moved to where I give her a biscuit once in a while. So, I mean, Indies are great for relationships. They're great for as I said, taking care of the neighborhoods. Yes, there is one problem. You can't have an overload of indie puppies all over the place. So you will have to take care of that and make sure that the dogs are spayed and then let them get about their business. They're also there to clean up the neighborhood because they eat scraps and other things which might cause garbage issues. So this is what, and I think the Supreme Court is worried because, yes, people are scared of dogs. And yes, people do get bitten by stray dogs. And I do remember, again, this is another time, during COVID, when I would go for one of my morning walks, the dogs were getting a little more aggressive. They were in packs because people weren't out. And I would find my track pants being chased. But, okay, it didn't get there because I would yell at them and then they would go away. But that may be a problem for some people. But I think on the whole, the benefits you get are better. You get security in your neighborhood.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Lily, in Coyote's Wild Home, there's this towards the end where the grandfather and the daughter are actually observing. Oh no, the coyotes are observing the grandfather and the daughter, and they leave them alone. I think us as a society, we don't really do that. I don't think humans do that. With indies, like what ma'am said, there are cases of biting, but I would argue that there are cases of biting only when instigated, which is where I want to know what your take is on this whole idea of coexistence and, sharing space with our furry friends.
Yeah, it's such a good question, and I think coexistence is very ongoing. It's something we should be thinking about all the time and thinking about how we can act around our animal friends. And I think, my context is in the US, but I think there's a lot of fear of wild animals just because a lot of it is unknown. And it's very easy to fear what you don't know about, Coyotes are off in the woods, they run away when you see them, and so that's very scary if you're not somebody who's learned a lot about them. And I think understanding and learning a lot about the animals, about the indies or about coyotes can really help us respect them. And I think respect is really central to coexistence. So I feel like the more we can learn, the more we can understand, and the more we can respect their space. I mean, if we understand coyotes, we understand that they don't want a person to come up to them. So even though they might look very cute, if you approach them, they would probably be very scared. And when they're scared, they bite, just like dogs, right? So what we can do to coexist is make sure they don't feel scared. We can respect them and understand their behavior.
Was there an animal in your childhood, ma'am, that made you feel brave or curious or less alone?
Oddly enough, there were no animals in my childhood. And for a while, I was scared of dogs.
Really?
Yeah. But, I mean, recently, my house has been haunted by a pair of indies called Tublu and Gublu in different batches. They belong to my father's carer. So we got Tublu, and I was a little worried because my father is pretty old and in a wheelchair. But he was quite happy with Tublu. And I discovered again that we got security in the house. And then there was Gublu, who had his own personality, and now we have Gublu prowling around the house. So I guess I've got used to dogs.
Nice. And Lily, what about you? Was there any animal when you were growing up?
There were lots and lots of animals. I was really lucky to grow up on a farm, and so I was surrounded by animals my whole life. And every day I would come home from school and I would catch frogs in our front pond, and I would catch snakes and bring them inside, and my mom would say, "Don't do that, take them back outside." And I have loved animals my whole entire life, and there's really no animal that I don't love, and that's why when they reached out about coyotes, before that, I knew a little bit about coyotes from my degrees, but I had not really looked into them. But I honestly would be willing to stand up for any animal. You know what I mean?
Have you seen coyotes in the wild yourself? You have?
I have. I'm so lucky that we live in a place where there's a pretty healthy coyote population. And actually, I have a funny story that I'll be brief about. When I was in 3rd grade, we lived on this farm and we had lots of chickens. And I especially, maybe I should have mentioned the chickens, I especially connected with the chickens. I loved them. I would go out in the chicken coop and sing to them every day. They were my beloved chickens. And one day, I looked out our front window and there was a coyote in the yard. And it had my favorite rooster in its mouth. And I thought, oh no, what do I do? And so I was 7, I think, and I was just like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where my parents were, so I ran out in the yard toward it, which is not the thing to do. When you see a wild animal, you should not run toward it. However, the coyote saw me, little tiny 7-year-old me. I was not scary, and it ran away. And that's how...
Did it drop your rooster?
It dropped my chicken, yes. My rooster was fine. He was untouched. My rooster was fine. The coyote ran away. And that is the closest I've ever been to a coyote. But that just goes to show that they are just as scared of us as we could possibly be of them.
I love the coyote howls in the book. I think it's really cute. And I want someone in the audience to do a wolf howl or a coyote howl and tell me the difference between the two. Anyone? Come on. Do a nice ow. Yeah, let's wake everyone up. Oh. Okay. No one in the audience is doing it. Guys, come on, seriously.
Yeah.
Here, what if we do it together?
Yeah.
What if we count to 3 and do it together?
1,
2, 3.
Come on, guys.
Ow!
I think there might be jackals in this area as well, right? Are there? I don't.
I actually have howling competitions with Guglu.
Oh, really?
I hate to tell you this.
Who wins?
I don't know, but I think actually I win.
Oh, okay. Well, well, we have strong competition then, so we're gonna stop. If Chinku would to give an advice to children about animals, what would it be?
Chinku would probably say animals have their own stories, and those stories need to be respected. And because they are part of our world and part of our tradition, we all need to live happily together and give each other space. Because that's how their stories will survive, our stories will survive, and the world will be a better place.
That's beautiful.
And Lily, if there was advice that you think the coyotes would give, what would it be?
Wow, Anjana ma'am really just covered covered it really well. I think respect is so central, like you said. I think respect and space are the things that we can give animals to help us coexist the best. Respect and space.
What questions do you hope that children would ask after they read Coyote's Wild Home? And that's the same for you also, ma'am, of Chinku and the Wolf Boy. What do you think the questions would be?
Well, actually, I would say the questions that Chinku would raise would be about stories and learning to understand people who are different from you. Because she learns to understand the wolf boy, who she's scared of to begin with, but then he becomes a dear friend of hers. So understanding is what is important. And that ultimately comes into it, understanding stories, traditions, people, why people do things, and why life can be very, very magical if you just allow it to be the way it is.
How do you think stories like Chinku and the Wolf Boy and Coyote's Wild Home, what lessons do you hope that readers take away from it?
So when we were writing Coyote's Wild Home, we were very careful to kind of juxtapose or compare the human story with the animal story. And the reason we did that is because we really hoped that children would connect with these animals and see that they are not that different from us, and that their motivations, the things that they want to be safe, to be happy, to be with their family, are all very similar to the things we want. And I hope that children would ask how they can compare to a coyote, maybe how they can relate to animals and connect in that way.
Thank you so much for that. We will take questions from the audience now. So do we have anyone with questions about canines and coyotes? Anyone? Yes. We have, do we have someone to give the mics there? Yeah, just shout the question out. Go on, you can come here. Come here.
My question is that are coyotes or dogs, do they can coyotes become pets if you train them?
That's a good question.
That's a very good question. So, coyotes and dogs are different in that people have been working with dogs for many, many, many years. And so, dogs, over time, every time a new dog is born, it's a little bit more like a dog and less like the animal it used to be a long time ago. And so, because dogs have been working with people so long, they have a lot of behaviors the coyotes don't have. Coyotes do not make very good pets. They don't really calm down, even if you give them lots of kindness and lots of time. Their brains are just wired to be wild animals. So sometimes people will try to feed coyotes. They think, oh, if I'm just really nice to it, it will become a pet. But it turns out coyotes don't make very good pets. There's actually something that happens sometimes in the US is that a dog will run off in the woods and have babies with a coyote. And the result is called a coy dog. And sometimes people do own coy dogs because they're not exactly a wild animal, so they can't live in the wild. And what I've heard about coy dogs is that they're very unpredictable. Even if you've spent your whole life with this animal and you think you know everything about its behavior, it might one day be a little bit different. It might act a little more like a wild animal. So I would say generally coyotes do not make very good pets, even when you work really hard with them. That's a good question. Thank you.
I was reading up about skunks, and because I think they're just so adorable. And actually, in the UK, they do adopt skunks. They like take the scent gland out or something, and they adopt. I'm not sure where I stand. Where do you stand with adopting wild animals?
If you adopt a wild animal, you will always have to remember that it may just remember it's wild. Which is why I don't know. There are people who've tried to adopt tiger cubs, and ultimately it hasn't worked. Even Elsa in Born Free was set free because people actually forget lions and tigers are larger, but people also tend to be scared of wild animals. No? Somewhere or the other, this doubt, the instinct, will the wild animal attack me? Will it suddenly remember what it is? What do I do? So I think you should just let them be.
Yeah.
Let them coexist. Be happy to have them around, but do not adopt them. You have enough animals to be pets, cats, dogs, fine.
We have another question. You can come here and ask your question. And I'll ask you also to come here. We can ask another question. Are there mics? Oh, great. You can ask your first.
Are coyotes and canines the type of the same animal, or are they a little bit different or very different?
That's a great question. They're like cousins, sort of. So they're a little bit different. They have a lot of similarities. They're sort of a similar size. They eat similar things, but they're different in the way that they behave and the way that they live. So I would say a little bit different.
And what about foxes? So there's foxes, jackals, coyotes, wolves.
Yes.
They're all different, right?
Yes.
All different. But they're all from the dog family.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
All cousins.
We get a question from you.
Are coyotes like dogs?
Yeah, I think it was the same question. So they are from the dog family, right, Lily?
They're very similar, yeah. So they're similar in a lot of ways, but they're also different in a lot of ways. And one of the main ways is that people have worked with dogs for a really, really, really long time. So dogs kind of understand that we're on their side, whereas coyotes don't have any history with people, so they don't really understand that we're on the same side, if that makes sense.
We have a little.
What are the differences between a coyote and a dog?
Okay, well, this is the same question. How many questions do we have about coyotes and dogs here? All? Is it any different from his question? No? Yes? How is it different? You want to add it? Add something?
What do coyotes eat?
Okay.
Great question. That is a different question. Yeah. So a lot of people think that coyotes and a lot of dogs eat just meat, right? They're just out there eating animals all the time. But coyotes, believe it or not, they eat everything. They're scavengers. So I don't know if you guys know of the term scavengers, but that's an animal that eats whatever it can find. So a coyote will eat berries if they find some, or nuts, or a little animal. They eat a lot of rodents, a lot of mice and rats, which a lot of places in the US, we have a lot of mice and rats, sometimes too many. And so it's really nice that they can control that population. But they eat a little bit of everything. Good question.
Which bite is more dangerous, coyotes or dogs?
It depends on who has a stronger jaw, actually. I would think that a coyote and a dog would be about the same bite-wise.
Yeah.
A wolf bite would be worse.
Yes.
Do we have a question which is not about coyotes or dogs?
We have an indie question.
Yeah, do we have an indie question? Yes, you.
How are coyotes cute? How would you express it?
How do they express what?
How are they cute?
How are they cute?
Well, cute is sort of in the eye of the beholder. So some people might not even think coyotes are cute, but I think they're cute because I think most animals are cute, honestly. I think frogs are cute. I think snakes are cute. I think bats are cute. I think they're all cute. So that's up to you to decide, I think, whether you think coyotes are cute or not.
They're quite scary.
That's all right. And it's okay to be scared of them too. It's all right because you probably won't ever meet one. But if you do meet one, all you have to keep in mind is to give it lots of
Are
space.
they just native to North America?
Yes, they're just native to North America. So if you're ever there and you see one, just give it lots of space and you have nothing to worry about. They don't ever hurt people.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So I hope you have all heard about supernatural animals as we talk about animals like unicorn, Sagittarius. So if you could bring one of them back to life, like what would that be and why?
Anjana ma'am, I'd have you take this.
Oh, what would I like to bring back to life? Probably a winged horse.
Oh, that's quite nice.
Yeah, because consider you get environmentally friendly transport. If that sounds horrible, I don't know. But it would be good to have a Pokhiraj floating around the skies.
I think Uber would monetize that real quick though. But
Well, I don't know about that, but there we are. Indigo might have something to say.
yeah, true. And Lily, what about you?
Oh man, that's a hard question. I have to agree with Anjana, ma'am. I think a Pegasus would be a winged horse would be a really excellent addition to the world.
I can add something. Someone told me that there's a species of lizards that can still sort of fly. I want to remove that species. Like, that's the species I want to remove. I mean, that does not answer your question, but yes.
If it's any consolation, they can only really jump from one tree to
No,
another.
Lily. No.
That's not
Sorry.
helpful.
No, that's not helpful.
Okay.
No. Thank you.
Thank you.
How much time do we have, just for the sake of time? We have some time? Okay, wonderful. Yes.
Ma'am, how different are coyotes from the ancient wolf before we had domesticated dogs?
That's a really good question. So they are more similar to wolves than dogs because, again, dogs have been working with people so long that they've become very different in their behavior and their brains, whereas coyotes still have more of that wild wolf brain like their ancestors would have had.
And when you were writing The Wolf Boy, Anjana ma'am, what inspiration did you have for wolves, really?
Well, don't forget there are a whole bunch of stories on wolf boys and wolf men in literature. I mean, apart from vampires, wolf men are one of the next scariest species.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, let's try a wolf boy for a change instead of a wolf man and see where this goes.
And was some inspiration taken from Wolverine? Just curious.
No,
No?
not Wolverine.
Then it was just the general
It was
animal.
just generally the wolf boy and the moon and I don't know, this odd combination came together in my head. So I guess I thought a wolf boy who couldn't control, was a very good boy, but couldn't control what happened to him when the moon rose would be an interesting thing to do.
Thank you.
Ma'am? Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So, like, are coyotes more intelligent or dogs?
Oh, they're both very intelligent animals. They might be intelligent in different ways. Dogs are really good at understanding people.
Yes.
Yeah, so dogs are really good at reading people's body language, connecting with people. Coyotes are intelligent in different ways. Coyotes are very, very intelligent about changing in order to survive because they have had a lot of challenges in the U.S., especially people are very scared of them, so people want to kill them often. And so coyotes are very good at hiding. They're very good at changing their behavior. So I would say they're both very intelligent in different ways.
I want to ask Lily, what is your spirit animal?
I think I might be a little frog.
A frog?
A little frog. I love frogs.
And what about you, Anjana ma'am?
I would have to say a tiger, actually.
A tiger? Yes. I know you've written a lot about tigers as well.
Yes, so
Like a Royal Bengal tiger or a...
a Royal Bengal tiger will do quite nicely.
Ma'am, I have one more question. Your wolf boy is something like a werewolf. So why is werewolf always associated with a full moon? Is it just a silly imagination or it is some logic or mythology behind it?
Well, there is a logic to the moon and to the things it does to various things. If you realize wolves always howl during a full moon. Do you know that? Because they see the moon and they start howling. Cats are more active and more suspicious when the moon rises. And the moon also affects seas and rivers. So there is something about the moon and the wild which goes with all these wild things and with nature. That's why the wolf boy and the moon.
Okay, we'll take a question from you.
What's the difference between a direwolf, a jackal, and a normal indie dog?
A normal indie dog is a normal indie. It's a dog. It's a stray species which grew up on the streets. It is a dog. Some of them do mate with jackals, in which case you probably get a jackdog, I guess. But they are different. They're related to dogs, but they're not related to your pedigreed golden retrievers, labs, and all those other creatures which are not native to the country. The Indies have grown up on the streets and therefore they belong to India. The jackals have grown up in the forests and they are actually related to coyotes because they're the smaller canine breed. We also have Indian wolves, which are not as big as the American timber wolves. Indian wolves are slightly smaller, and if you read Jungle Book, you will know all about Indian wolves. So a wolf is more powerful, it is larger, it is more dangerous. A jackal is smaller, slinks on the outside of towns, in forests. Wherever it is allowed to exist, it will prey on livestock. But usually it leaves people alone if it is allowed to. And your indie lives with you. It lives in your cities.
So we have time for 2 more questions. So we'll take a question from you.
In Virginia, are coyote is also mistaken for chupacabra?
Yes, they are. So the chupacabra in the U.S. is mostly a southwestern story. And so mostly the sightings of the chupacabra happen in the American Southwest, which are states like Arizona and Texas and California, if you've heard of those. In Virginia, we don't have as many stories about the chupacabra, but the stories you do hear about the chupacabra are usually coyotes. It's almost always what people think they are. Yes.
And the last question.
Anyone? Is a coyote bite dangerous for us?
So anything with a mouth in this whole entire world can bite, right? And anything that bites hard enough is probably dangerous. So a cat can bite, a dog can bite, fish can bite, I could bite you, right? Anything can bite. So really, if you were bitten by a coyote, it would be dangerous. It would be not great. But that's why we can give them the respect and we can give them the space to hopefully not have any chance to bite us, right?
And you would have to have your anti-rabies vaccine.
Yes.
I hate to point this out. You get rabies from coyotes, jackals, dogs. So therefore, also cats.
Yes, it's ideal to try not to get bit by any animal in the world.
Exactly.
So that brings us to the end of this session. Are we all ready to do our last howl for the, yes? Show of hands. How many are ready to do
How
yes?
many will howl instead of letting me howl?
Okay, so before we do that, I'm just joking. Can we do some closing thoughts, Lily, that you have, just thoughts that you have for the young readers and you as well, Anjana ma'am?
For young readers, my thought is please read. And please learn more about nature and as much about nature and try to understand it. Because we're living in a world which is so greedy for power, fossil fuel, and other things that we have stopped trying to understand nature. And without nature and without animals, we would not exist. And we have to learn and read things that will teach us to coexist better and to learn to be compassionate and keep the world going in the best way it can.
That was beautiful, Anjana ma'am. You hit all the high points there. I think I think you said most of it there. But yeah, I agree. Keep reading, keep learning everything you can learn. Please understand that, just like you said, we are part of nature. We are all one system working together. And the more respect and understanding we have for the other parts of nature, the better we can coexist and the better lives we can have alongside nature.
Thank you so much. I know a lot of young readers had questions. Anjana ma'am and Lily will be here for a while, so please feel free to walk up to them and ask your questions. Thank you so much, everyone. And yes, the Kolkata Literary Fest has officially started. We have time? Sure.
Sure. Yeah. How about
We have time?
Or we can always split off if, like, the people who want to hear the book, we could have a little separate session if you like to hear. We have time? Okay. I don't want to take over from anybody else's, but okay. You want to read?
Oh, I was told we just have time for 2 questions. Oh. Yeah, so we have,
Okay.
we'll start with Coyote's Wild Home.
Yeah, maybe if any kids who want to read it want to come up to the front, maybe, and then I can sit on the edge of the stage so you can see the pictures. Will that work? Does that work?
Do you want to sit on the ground? You can all, no sitting on the ground. Okay.
Okay, are you comfortable standing? Okay. All right, maybe I'll stand up then so that people in the back can see. I can stand up here.
Do you want me to hold it?
Oh, sure. Thank you. Thanks so much. Okay, so this book is called Coyote's Wild Home. In the heart of the forest, a coyote pup sleeps through the summer afternoon, curled close against the soft fur of his family. His auntie nudges him awake. It's a special day. Coyote Pup is old enough for his first hunt.
Ma'am, can you do the dialogue?
So why don't you all sit down? You can read from the book. They can hear it from there
Perfect.
instead of crowding
So
it over here.
we'll have-
Why don't you all go back? We do have some time. So please take your seats and ma'am will read out from there.
Okay, apologies.
So we'll have Anjana ma'am do the dialogues of Do you want Diana and the grandfather?
Wonderful.
And then you can do...
Wonderful.
Sure.
Where's the books? Do we have more books of Coyote's Wild Home? Yes.
Satyajit,
Both the books
just
are
get the
available
books over
online.
there.
Yeah, but I think my indie book is not around, which is a little odd.
Yeah, the indie book, I couldn't find it.
Did someone say wolf?
Thank you. So we'll do,
Okay, we'll do a double. Yeah. Here.
Okay, we'll do a double.
you can all sit down and I will hold and show everyone pictures.
you.
Yes.
Okay, this looks like a tunnel of leaves, Diana says, or a doorway. That's what it is, her grandfather says, a doorway to the woods. Diana has been through the doors of her apartment building, the subway, and even museums, but never a doorway to a forest. I can't wait to see what's here. How will we know where to put up our tent? There's a special place for camping. We're sharing these woods with a lot of other creatures. We want to make sure our home for tonight doesn't disturb theirs. What do you mean? A lot. Are they friendly? They might wonder the same about us, Grandpa says. They've got no business with you and me. They just want to stay safe. We're visitors here, but this place is their whole world. Look there. Grandpa points to a red cardinal bursts. Grandpa points as a red cardinal bursts from the leaves and flies away. Diana follows Grandpa on the trail with her eyes open a little wider.
Coyote Pup has never been this far from his den. So many new scents tickle his nose, he feels confused enough to chase his tail. Auntie strides ahead, helping Coyote Pup feel brave. He watches her put her nose to the ground, then high in the air. He does the same, noticing musky mushroom smells close to the dirt and tingly animal scents in the air. Those make him hungry. Auntie's head moves swiftly, following the different scents. She'll spend all summer helping Coyote Pup's parents teach their children to hunt.
Next page. Sorry. Yeah. If we're sharing the woods with other creatures, where are they, Diana asks. See those tracks? Animals are good at hiding, but we can see who's walked through here from signs they leave. I spy a skunk, your skunk, and a weasel. What about this one? Looks like a bird, a big bird. Why, you're good at this, Grandpa says. That's a wild turkey. What about these tracks that look like two toes? They're everywhere. Dear, says Grandpa, you're right. There are way too many in some places. Like those rabbits that make you mad when they get in Grandma's garden. Grandpa laughs. Yep, lots more deer and rabbits than they used to be.
Yip, yip, yip. Auntie yips and squeals. Coyote Pup knows she's being friendly. Her low growl means danger, run and hide. He wants to be a good hunter, so he perks up his ears, trying to learn. When Auntie throws her head back her head and howls, "Ow!" he almost tumbles over. That never sounded so loud from inside the den. From far away, other coyotes howl back. We're over here, their cries announce. "Oh, hunting here today."
Hear that, Grandpa asks? Coyotes. Diana runs to them. Are they coming to get us? I heard coyotes will eat your dog or cat, or you. Goodness, they won't hurt us, says Grandpa. They'd rather eat a rabbit. People who speak ill of coyotes don't understand the good they do. We need predators to keep the natural world in balance. Diana feels a little braver. What's a predator? A predator eats other animals. Remember the too many deer and rabbits? A long time ago, wolves were the top hunters in these mountains. But now that they're gone, the deer might eat these woods down to bare dirt. Uh-oh, Diana says. Coyotes started showing up here when your mummy was growing up. I expect they've come to do the jobs the wolves used to do. Animals have jobs? Diana thinks this over. So a coyote's job is to help the forest by eating some animals that would gobble it up? Smart girl, says Grandpa.
Auntie scents deer, just out of sight. She barks to stop Coyote Pup from running after them. Large prey will have to wait until he's older and can hunt with his whole family working together. Today, she will show him how coyotes use their many hunting tools: patience, camouflage, sharp teeth, quick legs. She steers him toward a vole hiding in the grass, waits, then pounces. High above them, a hawk watches. He's had his eye on that vole all morning. He waited patiently, but missed his chance.
On their hike to the river, Grandpa explains the laws about fishing, what kind of fish they're allowed to catch, and how many. I want to catch 100 fish with my new pole. You couldn't eat that many. It wouldn't be fair to the fish, Grandpa says. And what if someone else did that here yesterday? There'd be none left for us. That's right. The balance of nature includes everything alive, even us. We take what we need and no more. Predators make sure there aren't too many prey animals, but if they overdo it, the prey will all disappear. So every animal is a predator or a prey? Diana asks. Yep, sometimes both. Are we predators? Grandpa chuckles. Do you want dinner? Let's try our luck.
Auntie and Coyote Pup catch the scent of humans, and the fur on Coyote Pup's back stands up. This smell is new and scary. They creep close enough to watch the two-legged creatures. One is smaller. Coyote Pup wonders if it's a pup, too. Auntie guides him back into the woods. That's always the safest place. Their forest keeps shrinking, though. Near their den, a new pasture was cleared where trees once stood. The changing land feels strange to Auntie with so many humans in it. Soon, she and her pack will have no choice but to hunt in these new places and learn their dangers. Coyote Pup is too young for such risks. Today, they'll keep to the wilds.
Diana waits for a nibble on her line, but waiting is hard. She decides to do some exploring instead. What's this, she asked. Scat, said Grandpa, also known as animal poop. Yuck! He laughs. Reading scat is like reading tracks. We can see where an animal has been and what it had for dinner. That's raccoon scat, and those shiny things in it are fish scales. What does that tell us? That it went fishing like us. A raccoon is a predator too? Grandpa smiles. You're catching on.
Coyote Pup smells food. Alive, very close. The scent of a meal makes his nose quiver. He burrows into the grass, pounces, and misses. He forgot about the waiting. As the mouse scurries away, he howls sadly. Auntie yips her encouragement and walks on. Coyote Pup sniffs something else, sweet and tangy and very near. Humming insects tell him it's ripe fruit. If he can't catch a warm animal meal, he's happy to eat fruit, nuts, even grasshoppers and beetles. These blackberries will fill his stomach, and they're easier to catch.
Diana feels a tug on her line. She reels and pulls in nothing. I'm the worst fisher in the world, she howls. Catching dinner takes practice, Grandpa says. The animals have to work even harder. We're lucky. We won't go hungry even if we don't catch anything. Grandma packed us a can of stew we can heat up over the fire. Hey, I spied dessert, yells Diana. See over there? I remember those from last summer at the farm. Grandpa smiles. I remember you and blackberries. You two made good friends.
From the top of the mountain, Auntie howls. Will you guys help me with one more howl? I'm going to count to 3, and then we'll all howl together, okay? 1, 2, 3. Ow! Awesome. Thank you, guys. Coyote Pup tries out his own small howl. Ow! He shivers to feel the wind tassel his fur. He lifts his nose to the moving air, smelling mushrooms, ripe berries, and traces of mice. Auntie's nose finds many more scents: acorns under their feet, buried by squirrels, and a raccoon nest in a tree. Even the deer that passed here yesterday have left their scent. She sings one last song in the dusk, sending a message to her sister back at the den. They moved to this mountain last winter after their forest home was cut down to build houses. They're still learning what they can find in this new forest to feed their family in every season.
Diana and Grandpa listened to coyotes singing in the dusk. That's a wonderful sound, he says. I'm not scared anymore, Diana agrees. Now I know the coyotes are talking to each other. I just wish I were a better predator. I didn't even catch a fish. But you learned a thing or two. I did. The coyotes are the friends of the forest, and how to read animal poop. And we spent time together in the woods, Grandpa says. I'd call that a good day. Diana smiles. I would too.
Coyote Pup's stomach still feels a little empty. He wishes he'd caught that mouse. But as he and Auntie get close to their den, he lifts his ears, excited. His brothers and sisters are growling and tussling over their supper, a wild turkey their father brought home. While the pups eat, their mother and Auntie nuzzle one another, scenting all the places they went today. Coyote Pup and his brothers and sisters nuzzle each other too, sniffing mouse and turkey and blackberry. They're still learning to have clever noses and faster legs. One day, they will hunt to feed pups of their own, taking their natural place among all the creatures on this mountain, keeping their wild home in balance. The end.
The end.
Thank you both so much for helping with that.
That was lovely. That was lovely. I really want to know the few personal things that are in this space, in this book. One being the blackberries that you pluck. I want to know if that is a personal anecdote of yours that you make dessert out of. Was that something that's pretty new to me?
That is, so blackberries are a really common wild plant in the U.S. And so what I was hoping, I have memories of being a child and picking wild blackberries and bringing home a bowl for my mom to make something with. And I was hoping that other kids in the U.S. might also have had that experience and would connect with that.
What I also really liked about the story was just how sensorial it was, like the mice and the little bit of fur and the crumbs, and also the raccoon poop with fish scales. What do you think of that?
Yeah, but actually that's very useful for children learning about nature, and they will realize that animal poop has its own stories to tell, like animal tracks. But unfortunately, because we're so busy not looking at things, we don't realize that. So these details are very, very important and useful. And it's not just dogs are predators, tigers are predators, and they all have a task of keeping things like deer and rabbits and the grass eaters within limits, so that the plants grow, the grass grows, but nothing gets out of hand.
The indie book that you were talking about, what was the name of the book?
That's called Did Someone Say Woof?
Did Someone Say Woof? Nice. And can you tell us a little bit about, we'll end this talk by talking of the indie stray dogs that really need our attention now. So can you tell us a little bit about that story?
That story is actually the story of Tublu and Gublu and how they came to the house and my father's scarer and what they did and how Tublu tried to eat my father's chicken stroganoff and had to be kept away from the chicken stroganoff and had to be carried up the stairs, and how Gublu had moved into a new flat with meet who is owner, and there were probably poltergeists in that flat, and he was doing howling practice to take care of the poltergeists.
Does it say that you won in the howling game?
No, I didn't get it.
You were quite modest.
I know, I agree. At some point I will write about winning in the howling game.
Since we already did closing thoughts at intermission, do you have some final closing thoughts? Just some good wishes to the young readers and learners that we have in the audience today.
Well. I wish you well. I wish you lots of happy reading, happy times, and happy writing. It would also be useful if you guys wrote down the things that you get to see. Because that way your observation of the world will also sharpen. So the more you do that, the better. But yeah, enjoy reading, enjoy the world, and enjoy everything you see around you. Because I think that's the best way to go.
I would also ask one question here. Like, children often struggle with writing briefs, and when it comes to writing about animals, there's always this block. Is there something that you suggest that we do when we think of?
I think the more animals you see, the better. Because the trouble is, there aren't actually enough books about animals. There should be more. We do not. We tend to write things about advice for children, growing up, living with people, all of which is important. But you really need to learn about animals. So you cannot obviously keep going for tiger safaris, though tiger safaris is one thing. You should wander through the zoo, if there is a zoo in your city, and look and see how animals behave, what they do, observe them. Actually spend a lot of quiet time watching them. Or go to a place where there is a pond and see if you can watch fish jumping. All these things you can do very easily and very simply. And I think you'll enjoy it.
Why do that? We have Reels. We have YouTube.
I hate Reels. Okay, Reels and YouTube are fun. You also have fake Reels and fake things. It's much better to go watch the birds and the dogs and everybody going about their business. And then you can come back and make a reel on them.
Yeah, good idea. And Lily, are we writing another Coyote's New Home?
I am working on several books. I think my next one, my new animal that I think needs some love is vultures. I think vultures need some love because they do a lot of ecosystem services. They're really important for the world. And I think they're really misunderstood, like coyotes. So I hope to do some more learning about other animals that need.
Yeah, that's very good because in India, the vultures were being poisoned.
Oh.
And unfortunately, vultures also serve another purpose. They're used for air burials in the Himalayas because they eat the dead bodies. The Parsis also have vultures in their fire temples. So it is a way of getting rid of the dead, unnasty as that may sound.
I read something about vultures going extinct in India.
Yeah, because they were being poisoned.
And interestingly enough, it was interlinked to the Parsis because of the inbreeding that kind of happens in the community. They have blood issues, so they take blood thinners, and those blood thinners are dangerous to the vultures. But I don't know how true this is.
No, that one is not really true. The point is that people have been poisoning carcasses, and the vultures have been eating the carcasses and dying.
Oh, okay.
The U.S. also did that starting in the 1940s. They poisoned. They were actually trying to kill wolves and coyotes, but what they found is they killed wolves and coyotes and vultures and eagles and cats and dogs and everything because everything scavenges. So yeah, it turns out when you poison one thing in nature, you're kind of poisoning all of nature, and that's not great.
Well, next year I hope the talk is about vultures and. Yes, and by then I hope there are some more animals or more birds that you write about, Anjana ma'am, so that we can be here again next year. But thank you all for being such a great audience, and yes, that brings us to the end of the talk.
Thank you.